The pen tool allows you to draw complex shapes in Flash. If you've used the pen tool in other applications like Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator, you're in luck because the pen tool in Flash works the same way. All the keyboard shortcuts are the same as well. So we have our elephant here, and I'm going to use the pen tool to draw him a pool of water to drink. So I'll select the pen tool from the toolbar, and just notice that it also has a flyout menu with the Add Anchor Point, Delete Anchor Point, and Convert Anchor Point tools. So you'll see in the Property Inspector that the pen tool doesn't have a fill color, it only works with a stroke color. And we're going to leave ours at black, with a 1-point stroke is fine, and I'll leave this in Merge Drawing mode. So the icon here at the bottom is the lighter gray instead of the darker gray. One way to work with the pen tool is to point and click. Then I'll just move my mouse and point and click again, all the way around a circle. You'll notice that all the lines are straight. To close my shape, I just click again on the first anchor point that I created. So now I'm going to hit Control, Shift, and A on my keyboard to deselect the shape. That's Command Shift A on a Mac. And look at the shape. And it's a little unrealistic for a pool of water, so I'm going to hit Control A on my keyboard to select all and delete it. Fortunately, the pen tool also allows you to draw curved lines using Bezier curves. A Bezier curve uses a mathematical equation to describe the curve of the line. So to take advantage of this, I'll click with the pen tool once to create my first anchor point, and then click and hold down the mouse to create the second anchor point. As I hold down my mouse and move it back and forth, you'll see these handles appear. As I continue to move my mouse, you'll see how the handle affects the curve of the line. You can drag those handles way out as well to change how they affect the Bezier curve. So I'm going to fix my line so I like this first curve, and then release the mouse and click and drag to make the next point with handles. And I'll repeat this process all the way around the water hole so we have a nice round pool. I'll click once on my starting anchor point to close my shape, and now I'll deselect everything. If you want to change your shape after you've drawn it, you can use the Subselection tool, which is the white arrow in the toolbar underneath the regular selection tool. You can click on any of the anchor points you've created and move the point around. You'll also notice that the handles reappear. If you approach the end of a handle with the mouse, the cursor changes to a little black arrow, allowing you to grab the handle and adjust the curve. So I'll move this handle back and forth a few times. Now I'm going to hold down Alt on the keyboard. That would be Option on the Mac. And you'll notice that this constrains my handles so that the movement of the mouse only affects one side of the handles, not both. So you can use that for really detailed control. So I'll release the mouse, and you can also move the entire shape using the Subselection tool if you wish, by grabbing a portion of the stroke in between two anchor points and dragging. So now I'll go back to the toolbar and choose the Add Anchor Point tool. When I click on the line, I now have a new anchor point. The Delete Anchor Point tool does just what the name implies. I can choose it, click on any anchor point, and delete it. So I'll switch back to my subselection arrow. Now when I click on the anchor points around the entire circle, you'll notice the handles on them for controlling the Bezier curves. When I click the very first point that I drew, you'll notice that it doesn't have any handles on it. I didn't click and drag when I made this anchor point. I just clicked, so it doesn't have any Bezier curves or handles. If you want to change an anchor point from a straight angle to a curved angle, you just select the Convert Anchor Point tool in the flyout menu, and then click and drag on the anchor point in question, and now you have control handles. With my shape still selected, if I switch back to the Pen tool and hover over the edge of the shape, you'll notice the cursor now has a little plus sign next to it. When I click on the line, I get a new anchor point, just as if I was using the Add Anchor Point tool from the flyout menu. When you approach other anchor points with the mouse, the cursor can also show a minus sign or an angle, equivocating the Delete Anchor Point and Convert Anchor Point tools as well. So I'm going to deselect my shape, and now that we've got our pool of water, I'll select my Paint Bucket tool, choose a blue color, and fill in the pool so our elephant can have a drink. So the Pen tool, as well as the Add, Delete, and Convert Anchor Point tools, allow you to create artwork that connects lines, and even utilize Bezier curves to make lines look more realistic.